I was very disappointed. Anyone who has a job in the energy sector, it was a very sad day when TransCanada said that they were no longer going to continue with this project. And that means jobs from all over Canada. You look at out in Alberta, even Ontario, here in Peterborough, 350 jobs at General Electric, a company that's been in business since 1892. They had a contract to build motors for the Energy East pipeline. And now that was one of the pieces in the puzzle in the overall decision, but that was a $15 billion project from start to finish, and going all the way to New Brunswick, where it was going to finish up. It was a sad day for a number of economies, small town Ontario to urban Alberta. It was very disappointing, and the government will say it was market forces that did that. Well, you know what? They changed the rules twice during the process. No sane company would continue to invest in this process knowing that the writing's on the wall and that there is no champion for the energy sector. So now we continue to rely on foreign dictatorships from Venezuela to bring in tanker after tanker on our east coast of oil. And the money goes offshore to benefit another country where we can have good paying skilled trade jobs of all sectors here in Canada.
It sounds like there's a view that project could have had far-reaching just on how Canada's viewed in the world. Is that something that you would agree with? Well,
we had a chance to make our presence known and continue to try to make us energy independent. And this project started that. And let's also remind people that a good chunk of the pipeline is already in existence. It's transporting natural gas. Mm-hmm. All it was an extension on one end and on the both ends to bring it to market and to change it from natural gas to oil. So a great deal of it is already functioning right now. And it was a very, in my opinion, minor change. And we, again, had the ability to create economic wealth in all kinds of private sector jobs that we now lost that opportunity.
And so what do you think the focus of the Natural Resources Committee will be going forward? I understand it also looks at innovation technologies in natural resources as well as nuclear opportunities.
Yes. Right now we're looking at what's called interties. So basically provinces, there is an energy system that connects provinces that only goes north-south. Believe it or not, it does not go east-west, which a lot of people did not know, and which causes a problem. And for a whole bunch of reasons, it doesn't go north-south, or east-west, sorry. Terrain, cost, that kind of thing. But what we're seeing now here in Ontario is a lot of our surplus energy, which we have a lot of, goes to the States for pennies on the dollar. So our ratepayers, our businesses, are subsidizing a lot of the times our competitors in the United States, and it's being sold for cheaper. And we're not actually using the advantages of maybe going province to province. So that is causing a number of problems. Now, interties is only one part of the solution. There are provinces that need to import a lot more of their energy, but it is an expensive piece to put together. And so the committee right now, that's what we're examining, whether or not we make a recommendation to the government, whether or not to proceed with this line of helping the provinces with their energy needs.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I guess there's also the issue of the Ring of Fire in Ontario is another big piece. Has there been any discussions around that particular development?
Yeah, I think the conversation is getting louder in that area. I think there is a significant benefit to a number of communities, a number of economies in that area. And as the critic for Northern Ontario, that is one thing I will be promoting. And I don't know when this show will air, but I'm doing a tour of Northern Ontario next week when the House resumes. And so I'll be going to a bunch of communities, visiting them, talking to their chambers of commerce, talking to their local mayors, councillors about their thoughts on the whole project. And it's my understanding the vast majority of them are in full support of moving forward with developing this Ring of Fire.
Yes, and you'll be glad to know that the show will be airing next week.
Perfect.
So perfect timing, and I
Ontario.
wish you a wonderful visit up there.
Thank you.
We can also move along to another area. A lot of talk recently around the proposed federal tax changes around incorporations and the impact that will have on many constituents in your riding, from small businesses to the family farm, et cetera. Your thoughts on that particular issue as it stands?
Well, I was disappointed when the consultation period started. It started in the dead of summer. So my riding, in the economy, agriculture is number one, tourism is number two. So what are people in those sectors doing in the summertime? Farmers are in their fields. Small businesses, especially in the tourism heavy areas that are in my riding, they're busy. They're busy working. They're trying to make their monies because in many areas, and in Peterborough County, there's a lot of communities too, winters can be long, right? So you need to get as much as you can from these summer months. And so most of them weren't paying attention. And those that were didn't have time to write letters or make phone calls or rally up support. And I don't blame them. So I don't think the government was really interested in public consultation anyway. So it ended up finishing on October 3rd. The House of Commons was not in session, so we as the official opposition weren't able to raise awareness about this until we got into session. So we had 2 weeks of that, and once the House resumed, that was, pedal to the metal. We were all about that, and I think it rallied support from all sectors, whether it be the business community, the medical community, the agriculture community. Everyone realized how much of an impact this would make on their livelihoods. And it was very unfair the way they did it. So the government looks like they have placed a bit of a pause button on everything. They put 5 new points on how they're going to develop their legislation on their website. We will see what they come up with. I'm glad to hear that they did listen, and I thank all the groups that were responsible for helping with that effort, because without public support, without public pressure, it may have just continued the way it was originally proposed, and that would have been big problems for small business all across Canada.